Hi, my name is Marbles. I'm a developer, and when I enjoy a game, I tend to obsess over understanding how it actually works. Diablo Immortal is interesting because most of its mechanics are effectively hidden. So, I tried to reverse engineer them, and the result is a tool I made. In my clan, I noticed something. Both free-to-play players and spenders often struggle with the same question. Is this upgrade actually better? Diablo Immortal has a lot of hidden scaling systems and interactions. That makes targeted farming extremely powerful, but only if you understand what that actually affects in your damage, in your survivability, in your build, in your account. So, I built a calculator that simulates gameplay interactions and estimates the DPS survivability of your build. I should mention that this tool was inspired by the work from Oroth and Sedang, who created and refined early community DPS formulas. Their work helped me understand how those mechanics interact, overshadow each other, etc. etc. Everything you see here was built and tested by me. But it is based on reverse engineering and testing, not Blizzard's code. So technically, this is a simulation, not an actual game engine. But the results are surprisingly close. Let's recreate my raid build. I'm playing Barbarian. This build is a slight variation of Crane's raid build, which I use mostly for dungeons and single target fights. The main change is replacing Chain Spear with Furious Charge, which activates the 90% increased damage essence. Once we input the character stats, the calculator generates two main outputs, the score breakdown and the power map, which show how each component contributes to damage. And something immediately looked strange. The calculator says that my Colossus engine contributes almost no damage. That seemed unlikely, so I tested it. Let's check the impact of our Colossus engine here. Colossus engine increases skill damage. Therefore, it's safe to assume that if we were to not do any skill damage and just focus entirely on primary skill damage, that its efficacy would be much lower. And as we can see, indeed, it goes all the way down, with even zero efficacy if we have 100% primary attack damage. Let's go back to the previous setting and see what we can do about that. And now our favorite. Let's run a dummy test. First, a 1-minute dummy run with the original build. Now, let's remove the Colossus engine. The result is surprisingly close to what was suggested by the calculator, which means that we might be onto something here and its calculations might be correct. Let's go back to the calculator and use a very useful feature called side by side. We copy the baseline build and test potential upgrades. Two gems I have available at rank 10 are Mother's Lament and Pain Clasp. Most players would assume that Mother's Lament is a better choice because of its critical hit chance increase, which is indeed extremely strong. But the calculator predicts something slightly different, and I tested it. We are now going to be observing two side-by-side dummy runs, one where I replace the Colossus engine with Mother's Lament and another one where I replace the Colossus engine with Pain Clasp. The goal here is that after this 1 minute damage run, we're going to compare the outputted damage and see if the difference is similar to what was expected by the calculator. And there it is. Roughly around 4% damage difference, which is what was predicted by the calculator. Now, Of course, this is an obvious and simple case. These mechanics interact fairly simply with each other, so I'm not necessarily putting myself in danger here showing you this kind of estimate. But it shows that the simulation engine can produce useful and powerful estimates. Creating this tool, it also helped me gain perspective about the upcoming 4.3 changes. One example is the new Leviathan's Tomb gem. Based on the available information, this gem introduces a compound mechanic where the main bonus is increased based on a triggered condition. This is completely new in Diablo Immortal and was not, as far as I could tell, introduced in the game. Compound buffs is something new. That makes it particularly strong when paired with other gems like Roiling Consequence or Mother's Lament, which increase the chance of triggering its full effect. The standalone bonus is already quite strong, I would say S tier, but the synergy potential makes it even more interesting. Let's dive a little deeper. First of all, I believe there is a slight translation mistake that Abyssal Depth is actually Crushing Depth or the other way around, but basically they're talking about the same thing here. Secondly, to the best of my knowledge, this is the first gem that introduces a compound effect. Surprisingly, the secondary effect is like Pain Class, not the primary, as I was expecting. It is worth to note that this gem is not as powerful as it could be standalone, not like a Roiling Consequence or a Bottled Hope or a Blood Flow that don't need extra synergies to unlock their full power. But as it is, on rank 10, this is almost the power of a rank 10 Horn Coil at rank 10 on offensive stance. We're talking about just a 4% difference here. And this is not even fully charged, fully synced or fully compounded, however you want to call it. So my recommendations are for synergies, Berserker's Eye, Mother's Lament, Pain Class, Roiling Consequence, Blood Flow. These will combine very well with it, synergize very well with it, and contribute to an even higher increase of damage output. The ones that actually might be overshadowed would be the Morn's Call or the Bottled Hope. The Bottled Hope will remain a great gem with its movement speed increase and its cooldown reductions, but its damage buff will be completely overshadowed by it. For new players or people that don't necessarily want to dive as deep as I do about this type of mechanics, here's a little summary about what I believe is going to be the power effect at rank 3, 4, and 5. Bear in mind, I do not have access to the PTR, I've not been able to rank the gem up myself, and I had to pretty much guess what values are going to be at each rank. Let's just call it an educated guess based on all of the research I've done on previous gems in the past. I know that my values are wrong, and I will correct them as soon as they release officially the gem. I believe that at rank 3, fully charged, this gem would give you a 29.9% increase. That is provided that, of course, your target is suffering from any harmful effect, and that your critical hit chance is high enough to trigger consistently the compound effect. Rank 3 is only 2 copies to obtain. Rank 4 requires 4 copies to obtain total. But that gives you an increase total fully charged of 37.8%. At rank 5 for 9 copies, we're talking about 41.8% increase. Yes, fully charged, this is almost as strong as a rank 10 Horn Coil at rank 5. And now, saving the best for last, Vithu's changes. I don't understand why people call it a nerf. I'm sorry, I don't. Now, I understand that the formula changes. I understand all of this, but let me explain. I don't think it's entirely accurate to call it a nerf. Yes, there is some parts of it that is a nerf, but that is because it's a bug, not an actual game mechanic. It's not a nerf, it's a bug fix. To benefit from the previous behavior, you needed to have very high beneficial effect duration. Let me explain. Vithu's Urge was providing you with an extra 30% increase of all your beneficial effect duration total. Now it's just adding an additive 30% to your currently existing increase. This means that at the previous cap of 80%, you needed to have 66% beneficial effect duration in order to reach your cap with Vithu's. The thing is, you could go beyond that cap. You could go as high as 104% exploiting that bug with a cap of 80%. Now, Blizzard have changed that cap to be 100%, only 4% less than what people could achieve with their exploitation of a bug. More than that, if you're a new starter, you're very unlikely to have a high beneficial effect duration increase. But is it difficult to obtain 2 pieces of Vithu's Urge? I don't believe so. I think anyone can do that in 1 or 2 days, even just an hour sometimes if you're lucky. And this is a 30% beneficial effect duration increase. Additive. Which means that anybody that had, let's just say, 10% of beneficial effect duration that ended up with 13% before is now ending up with 40%. This is a massive buff. It's a massive buff that normalizes the strength, duration, rotation of every player in the game. And it nerfs whales. Indeed, you have to have had already an extremely maxed out account, or sorry for saying whales, I should have just said veterans, or maxed out players. But this is what this change does. It's a normalization. And now that I've created a tool that actually simulates all of this, I can tell how difficult it was to improve the game mechanics or improve the game engine with such a wild factor of Vithu's Urge not counted as correctly as beneficial effect duration, but as something extra, something unique, something separate. With this type of changes, as a developer myself, I can tell that the direction Blizzard wants to take, and Netease of course, is consistency in order for creativity to come through. If you want to fix anything else, if you want to introduce anything else, you have to fix Vithu's. Because in my opinion, the main and most important stat in the game is beneficial effect duration, not critical hit chance. Because you can increase the duration of your Mother's Lament, because you can increase the duration of your Riding Consequence, you will end up having enough critical hit chance at the very least during those rotation moments. Therefore, increase that duration, increase your power. Now, to kind of conclude, this simulation engine is still new and likely contains a lot of inaccuracies. But it already helps reveal useful patterns on how Diablo Immortal mechanics interact. And if the calculator helps players, especially free-to-play players and low spenders, make better decisions, use targeted farming, which could be the topic of my next video if you guys are interested, then the project will have served its purpose. I'm going to provide links to all of the creators' videos that I've mentioned in this video. As for the tool, it's currently in beta, and I'm hoping, if you guys are interested, to release it to the larger community. I just wanted to say thank you. Please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, comment, tell me how wrong or how right I am. Tell me if I missed something about this Vithu change. I want to know. I want to know how wrong I am so I can make the tool that is right for everyone. Thank you very much. Bye, toodles.